We are doing our monthly Temecula Valley housing market update today. We have some good news and some bad. I'll give you the details. Hi, I'm Jessica Genung with the Genung team in Active Realty. I am married to Chris, who is also a realtor, and we have two boys, ages 5 and 7, and I have a little announcement today. We have another one on the way, which was quite the surprise. I am a little bit old to be starting this all over again, but here we go. I am due in May, and I'm now in my second trimester, which for me is my good trimester. But we are still working hard over here despite this surprise. Let's get into the housing market and recent economic info. When given the choice between the good news or the bad news first, it seems like people always want the bad, so here is the bad news. Median sales price is down again month over month in 2 out of the 3 cities that we look at. Later in this video, we're going to be running the stats and I'll let you know which city that is. The number of closed sales are down in all 3 cities, which is typically what happens seasonally from October to November as we head into the holidays and should further decrease into December. Median days on market is up in all 3 cities and pretty significantly in 2 out of our 3 cities. Inventory, which is the number of homes listed for sale, is down in all 3 cities. So these housing stats, they're quite negative, and in all fairness, some of these are considered lagging indicators, but broader economic news has been quite good this week. Data shows the U.S. economy did better than previously estimated in the 3rd quarter. The economy grew at a 2.9% rate, which the Bureau of Economic Analysis has revised upwards from the original estimate of 2.6% and much better than the declines in the 1st and 2nd quarter. Even I was expecting the 3rd quarter GDP numbers to be negative or flat at least, just based on sentiment and how our business is slowing, but the 3rd quarter numbers in contrast were very strong. The U.S. economy added 263,000 jobs in November, which was in defiance of the aggressive action from the Federal Reserve that's trying to cool down the economy and bring down the decades-high inflation. The expected gain was only 200,000 jobs. The unemployment rate held steady at 3.7%. This could be interpreted as good or bad news. The Fed is actually trying to raise the unemployment rate and cool the economy, so from their perspective, a strong jobs report is not good. These are weird times. Let's dive a speck deeper on this jobs report. November's monthly gain of 263,000 jobs, which remains considerably above pre-pandemic monthly averages, is now the lowest total jobs added since April of 2021. So the jobs are increasing, but at a decreasing rate. So it's not exactly a running red-hot job market. Lastly, the stock market jumped on Wednesday after Fed Chairman Jerome Powell signaled that the central bank might start moderating the pace of the rate increases this month. The expectation is they will raise rates by 0.5% instead of the previous 0.75%. It's the first indication the Fed thinks that inflation is being tamed, though Jerome Powell did warn, or hedge, whatever you want to call it, that there is still a long way to go. Meanwhile, over the past month, the Dow Jones Industrial Average is up over 7.7%. I will repeat that is only over a 1-month time period. Huge gain. The S&P 500 is up over 9.6%. So I hope that you didn't pull your money out of the market expecting a market crash. Mortgage interest rates have been decreasing dramatically and have fallen for 3 straight weeks. My lender just quoted me 5.82% on a 30-year conventional fixed-rate mortgage with no points. My first house that I bought in Murrieta in 2010, my interest rate was 5.25%, and I was pumped to lock that in. It is funny how times change. If you recall, barely a month ago, interest rates were pushing 7%. This is a very fast drop in rates. All of this positive economic news is quite encouraging, especially after reviewing all the negative local housing market related news. The real estate market is known as a very sticky asset, meaning that it doesn't turn on a dime and it doesn't rise and fall quickly, in contrast to other assets like stocks and bonds and crypto that can trade pretty much instantly. Maybe we are close to turning a corner. Time will tell. I'll give you some brief insight into our business if you're interested in our boots on the ground perspective. A much higher than normal amount of transactions are selling all cash. In November, our team had 6 closed transactions, including 1 listing and 1 referral. 5 out of 6 of those transactions were all cash with only one client financing. Normally, it's the other way around with the vast majority of our clients financing. Let's get into the housing market numbers for Menifee, Murrieta, and Temecula. As always, we are analyzing only single-family detached homes. Let's find out what city had the price increase. But before we do, I would love to know your opinion down below in the comments. Let's take a poll. Are we nearing the bottom or not? Or if you think we're not, how long until you think we'll see the bottom? I'm going to put my crystal ball prediction down below for the fun of it. I also have a 2023 predictions video coming up shortly, so be on the lookout for that. All right, starting with median sales price in Menifee. As you can see here, the median sales price has dropped from $569,000 in October a month ago to $552,000. That is a over $16,000 drop, or a 2.9% change in the median sales price. Year over year, we are still up 5.2%. Moving on to the median sales price for Murrieta, and I'm going to switch my pen here to green because Murrieta is the city that had the sales price increase. So it increased 2.6%. It went up a little bit over $16,500 is the increase. Last month in October, it was $631,000. Year over year, we're up just a little bit, 3.3%. Moving on to median sales price in Temecula, it's the same story as Menifee, so I'm going to go back to my red color where it had a sales price decrease as well. So $689,000 is the median sales price for a single family home in Temecula currently, and that's down from $697 the month before. And we're still at a year over year increase here of 2.1%. Okay, so the variation between the three cities, I just want to recap briefly. It's basically, so Menifee is going to be your most affordable city, and then Murrieta is going to be your next affordable city, but it's about, the numbers are bouncing around, so roughly $100,000 more to purchase the same single family home in Murrieta versus Menifee. And the Temecula gap is between $40,000 to $50,000 more from Murrieta to Temecula. So Temecula is the most expensive, and you're looking at $40,000 or $50,000 more than Murrieta. Okay, moving on to closed sales, starting with Menifee and Moving on to closed sales and starting with Menifee, and spoiler alert, we're down across the board for all three cities. So Menifee's closed sales is only down one house, so that's not really anything to write home about. 0.9% from 115 closed sales in October to 114 in November. Year over year, closed sales are way down, 35.6%. Let's take a look at Murrieta. So Murrieta, you have a little bit more of a gap here. So 10 closed sales less than the month before. So October had 106, November decreased to 96. So that is a decrease of 9.4% in the number of closed sales. Year over year, same story as Menifee, down in a major way, 47.5%. Moving on to Temecula, and Temecula number of closed sales are down the most of the three cities. So 21.9% decrease in closed sales is pretty dramatic. 75 in November versus 96 in October. That is a decrease of 21 homes for sale. And Temecula has a pretty huge decrease year over year of 57.4% decrease in the number of closed sales. Moving on to median days on market, starting in Menifee. And if you recall our thumbnail, we'll have Chris flash the thumbnail up here real quick. But this we consider kind of big news here. So while month over month in Menifee, it is only taking 3 more days to sell a home. Year over year, you can see you've got a very big increase. From November of 2021, 10 days to sell. We're over triple the time to sell a home in Menifee. And just wait till we get to Murrieta and Temecula because it gets worse. Moving on to Murrieta, and this is the one that really surprised us. So you can see in October it's taking 22 days to sell a home. In November, our data says it's taking 45 days to sell a home in Murrieta. This being, double the amount of time to sell a home month over month. Every once in a while, the data that we get from our MLS, sometimes we question it. Sometimes it seems a little bit wonky, and sometimes later there's some corrections made to it. So we actually called our MLS to double check this number for us, because this number is questionable. So we'll let you know in future videos if this is in fact true, but we're doing some more research on it because that's a huge increase. Year over year, from 10 days to sell a home last November to 45 days. So, quadrupling the time to sell a home. That's big news in our market. Okay, moving on to Temecula median days on market. So we went from 21 days in October, month over month, we went up to 34 days. So that's a pretty big, it's a pretty dramatic increase month over month as well. I do want to say real quick, this 34 days to sell a home, historically, this is very average. It's just going back, if you look at November of 2021, where it was taking 13 days to sell, we had months where it was taking 7 days to sell a home. So 34 seems like a lot, but historically it is very normal. But as you can see, year over year, we're up, we're up double, triple the time to sell in Temecula as well. All right, last stat we're going to look at is number of listings starting in Menifee. This month, November, there's 398 listings. That was a decrease from October's 443 of 10.2%. This is a normal seasonal decrease. Typically last year, throw that one out the window. That was not a typical year. But normally when you're going from October to November, inventory is decreasing. When you get into December, it's supposed to decrease further. That's our normal seasonality. Year over year, inventory is way up, 37.7%. Number of listings in Murrieta. Number of listings in Murrieta has fallen the most of the three cities at 16.8% decrease. So there were 307 listings in Murrieta in November. So that's just a normal seasonal decrease, I think, as well. Year over year has also increased, same as Menifee that we looked at, and it has increased 29.5%. Moving on to number of listings in Temecula. So Temecula is kind of in the middle of Menifee and Murrieta. Month over month, number of listings has decreased 12.3% to 285. Year over year, it has by far the largest increase at 49.2%. Sometimes we like to throw in one extra stat, which is months of supply. This is something that we in the industry look at very regularly. And just to run that down for you real quick, Menifee has 2.4 months of supply. This number of months of supply, by the way, is if no new listings were to come to the market, how long would it take to sell every listing currently on the market? So in Menifee, it's 2.4 months. In Murrieta, it's 2.1 months. And in Temecula, it's 2.3 months. So actually, the months of inventory number is kind of stabilizing. It's been bouncing around from like 2.1 to 2.5 across these cities and kind of going up and down. But we're actually seeing months of supply stabilize, and historically this is still quite low and considered fairly balanced. Okay, that's going to be a wrap on today's stats. Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you next week. Bye.